is week number 15 of Pickswise Playbook. I am your host, Chris Rose. I've got my buddy Jared Smith and my former NFL offensive lineman, the one and only Ross Tucker, who is back from Army Navy. And every time you do that game, I have a feeling you're going to leave us and join one of the academies. Am I close?
No, I'm not, but I love them. I love all of those kids. I love that game. The game was awesome. I told everybody it was going to be a close game. Nobody believed me. It almost always is.
Sergeant Tucker. I love it.
You would have been seriously, you would have been like a great midshipman or cadet. Like, you would have been wonderful, no?
You know, I would have loved, in hindsight, I think it would have been cool to go to those schools and play in those offenses for sure. But back when I was playing, I don't think you were even allowed to go to the NFL after that. So
no.
I'm glad I took the path I took.
Yeah.
By the way, let's just say this right now, and we're going to move on to our NFL stuff momentarily. The Navy helmets are the coolest things I ever saw.
So cool.
I think Jamie Erdahl had a report on the broadcast that said each one of the helmets took 3 hours to paint. Those things were incredible. They were so good looking.
Unreal.
So all right, Jared, before we get going, you want to remind fans of what?
Yes, we are doing a giveaway on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment. The number one best bet, put it in, drop it in the comments, and Pickswise is going to randomly select a subscribing commenter. You have to be a subscribing commenter. Can't just randomly hop in the comments and start dropping picks. If your best bet wins, we're going to send you $100. Of course, you must be a Pickswise YouTube subscriber. You have to comment before 12:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday to be eligible, because we do have, you don't want to, it's good morals. You don't put a pick in after the game ends. We don't want that. So
well done.
Be
Guys,
sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well.
Very, very well done. Before we get to all the games here, real quickly, this has been the worst COVID week that we've had in the NFL. Ross, how do you look at the games when there's such unsettled situations?
Well, I think in the situations where they are really unsettled, you have two options. One is to wait essentially until the inactives come out and place a bet based on that, or try to use your best judgment now on what you think will happen and how you think the game will be impacted, and try to get ahead of the line. I think that's hard to do, but knowing guys' vaccination status, best guesses, you can try to do that. But really, in my mind, those are your only two options.
Yeah, it's tough. I like to bet early, which makes it even tougher. I use the jaredsfakelines.com to get all those great numbers before the market really knows what's going on. But I think the best piece of advice, if you do like to bet early, just maybe go half what you normally would, and then you throw the other half in later. There's really no way to predict or prognosticate how it's all going to go down. It's a crapshoot, and it's an unfortunate crapshoot because it affects a lot and the numbers move a ton. But I think you just have to be cautious, just like we are with the injuries and with some of the other things that we try to navigate on a weekly basis. It's not easy because it's very unpredictable, but you just have to kind of tiptoe around it as much as you can.
Yeah, I mean,
guys.
By the way, let me just say one other thing. You're never wrong staying away from a game.
Absolutely.
You're never wrong being like, I'm going to stay away from this one. Yep. I don't feel good about it. You really shouldn't bet games other than the ones you feel good about, right? Like, if it's one that you're not, those are not good bets to make. You should bet the ones that you have a strong conviction about. Going to be hard to have a strong conviction about some of these games this weekend.
Mm-hmm. That's why Ross Tucker is the most disciplined of the three of us in every facet of his life. I just want to say this to you. When it comes to his eating habits, his workout habits, his just general life habits.
Time
habits.
Time.
Oh, I thought you were using...
That's the one I'm most disciplined on.
Yes.
We know.
Same here. And actually, we're running out of it. So let's get to it. Week 15. And let's get it going with the nightcap on Saturday. This is going to be a fun one. You got the number one seed in the AFC, the Patriots, that seemingly haven't lost for about 8 months, or at least it feels that way, taking on the Colts, who are currently the 6th seed in the playoff chase. All right, Ross, how do you see this one breaking down?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I am pumped for it. I'll be calling the game between the Raiders and the Browns. I'm going to hop in the car and I'll be listening to this one and then watching it back later. I like the Patriots as a teaser leg. So, as we stand here right now, I probably would lay the 2.5 with the Colts because I think they're going to win the game. But to me, it's a toss-up game. And if you can tease the Patriots up to 8.5 in a toss-up game, I don't see them losing by 2 scores, close to double digits. So that's kind of how I feel. Look, the Titans ran for 270 yards against the Patriots. So I think the Colts, fresh off their bye, I think they're going to have some success running the football in this game. But ultimately, it's a close game. I think the Colts win a close one. I'll go with the Patriots, though, teasing them up to 8.5.
I'll take it even a step further. Even the Browns, without Chubb and Hunt, ran for 5 yards a carry against this Patriots defense. Now, that game was obviously out of hand, so maybe not the best comparison there. But the Patriots have been susceptible to the run at times during this streak. They've just overcome it with better play in other facets of the game. And when you look at the line, I mean, a massive flip here. The Patriots were actually favored in the look-ahead line, and now they're not. And this line is getting close to that key number of 3. We saw it hit 2. Now 2.5. We'll see if it gets to 3. If it does, I'm raising the flag for reverse line movement because the public early in the week splits hammering New England. Jonathan Taylor, that's the key for this game. The Colts are 7-0 when he goes for 100 yards. They're 0-6 when he doesn't. That's as simple as it gets for me. Jonathan Taylor goes for 100 yards. The Colts win this game. I like Indy. I think the sharp money's on Indy. The sharps love Frank Reich. We've talked about that on this show. And I agree that the Patriots in a teaser spot, it fits into that teaser box through 2 key numbers, low total game. But if I like the Colts to win the game, I'll lay off the teaser leg. I'm not disagreeing with Ross's teaser. It is a good teaser. But I think Indy wins this game, and I think that's my pick. I think it might be actually my best bet of the week.
Was that an explanatory with Jonathan Taylor or not? I don't know.
That was an explanatory trend. I actually have I didn't want to ruin the surprise, but I have a predictive trend for Ross later in the show. I'm excited about it. Very excited about my predictive trend today.
By the way, this is the first time since 1997 neither Tom Brady nor Peyton Manning will be the quarterback in this matchup.
Ooh, okay? I like that nugget.
Well, I'm going to give you this. It's a little early for a trivia question, but I'm not going to specify this to Ross, so you can play too, Jared.
Okay.
Name the quarterback matchup the last time these two teams played and neither Brady nor Manning was the QB.
Drew Bledsoe and Jim Harbaugh.
You are unbelievable out of the game.
That is impressive.
Harbaugh.
I would have gotten Bledsoe. I wouldn't have gotten
Peyton Manning was the quarterback for the Colts starting in 98. So it had to be before 98. Yeah, right. Obviously, that was Bledsoe for the Patriots.
Yeah.
I was confident about that. I didn't know for sure about Harbaugh, but I knew Harbaugh was a mid-90s Colts quarterback.
Yeah,
so,
good.
Boom.
Nice work.
I like that. By the way, one more nugget for you that actually goes towards Ross's teaser. Belichick is a dog. 50-29 against the spread in his tenure with the Pats.
Wow.
63% cover rate. So
5-1 against the spread on the road this year.
Yeah, he's been really solid. Yeah, they're 6-0 on the road too. They've won all 6 of those games. So this feels like the week that, not every team's supposed to cover every week. Like even when they win, it doesn't always happen. It's about 80%. So if you win 10 games in a row, 2 of them you shouldn't cover. And I think this is the week that the New England streak ends.
All right, let's move on to the early game on Saturday, the one that Ross Tucker's going to wear a hazmat suit to in my hometown of Cleveland. I mean, the news just keeps getting worse for the Browns in terms of COVID cases. So we know no head coach, no quarterback. They're basically without 60% of their offensive line, their top wide receivers, some key defenders, all sorts of stuff. How do you deal with this against a Raiders team that has just been a dumpster fire the last 5 weeks or so? Jared, we'll let you start here.
Tough. This line's moved a ton. The Browns were laying 6 when it opened on Sunday, and now it's, good luck if you can predict where this line's going to land. I would assume the Raiders will close as a favorite. I don't know how much, but I will say this. In what we've learned in the past, the Jordan Love to Aaron Rodgers, the Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, the Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, the lines moved the touchdown in the other direction, and the team that the lines moved against with the backup quarterback has been the team that's covered more often than not, even in Cooper Rush's case, winning outright. So I think the value says take the Browns catching points, but it's like trying to catch a falling knife. This is, again, like Ross said, it's okay to say, I don't know really what's happening here. I'm going to wash my hands of this one and move on to another game. No play here for me, but I would say the value definitely favors the Browns.
So, we talk about it. We talked about it before. I typically place my bets on Tuesday when I'm recording the Even Money podcast. I'll tell you guys this. 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes before we started to record on Tuesday, the line was 6.5. The Browns were laying. I loved the Raiders. By the time we actually recorded, a bunch of the COVID cases had come out. The Browns were laying 3. I was a little hesitant, but I still thought, man, they're missing 2 linemen and Jarvis Landry, and I'll take the Raiders Raiders plus 3. Now it's the Raiders are favored by 1. So I somehow, one way to look at this would be if you see a couple guys test positive,
spreads,
guessing that there will be more and trying to get ahead of the line.
Good point.
I mean, but now I'm 42 years old and I went to Princeton University and I'm on an internet show giving COVID futures out. Okay. My parents thought I would be like a Wall Street investment banker. And instead, I am playing the COVID futures market.
How far the apple has fallen from the tree.
I mean, they're already upset that people say to them, oh, yeah, he's the press box food video guy, or he's the guy that posts his beers. They're already disappointed in me as a person. And now I'm out here telling people how to hedge COVID futures. I like the Raiders when they were getting 3 points. They're not anymore. We should probably move on to the next game.
That's classic.
Oh my God. You're sliding into Donovan Peoples-Jones's DMs, every morning to find out how he's feeling. Jesus, is that where we are?
I think that's where we are as a society right now, unfortunately.
To the Panthers and the Bills. The Bills, who've dropped back-to-back games, are currently the 7th seed. Josh Allen, who really played a remarkable second half down there in Tampa, is dealing with that mild foot sprain, whatever the heck a mild foot sprain means. But they've got the Panthers coming to town, which is good news for them because the Panthers are playing this ridiculous 2-quarterback system like we're trying to divvy up reps at recess, with second graders or something. Ross, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I make of it. I don't make much of the quarterback situation with the Panthers. Although, by the way, how about Darnold? He's practicing. Maybe they do a 3-man rotation on Sunday.
Like a 3-man weave.
Hey, Ross, it could be like the Pro Bowl where each guy gets like a quarter and a third.
That's unbelievable.
What they need to do is have 2 of them on the field at the same time and just totally confuse the other team. Totally. Look, I like Carolina and the points. This is a rough spot, I think, for the Bills. That was an epic comeback against the Bucs, obviously. But they go to overtime. They lose. Josh Allen's beat up. By the way, Josh Allen, the Bills are only really good when Josh Allen's like Superman. He's not Superman 2 times in a row all that often. And now he's got the foot injury. All of which is to say, I'll take Carolina and the 10.5. It's now up to 11. So look, I didn't even get a good number there. I got 10.5, but it's now up to 11. So you can get a better number.
No play on the spread, but here's your predictive trend, and this applies for the entire month of December. Drink, everyone, please. So double digit favorites, 19-3 straight up over the last 2 seasons. That's about 90% win rate, which is higher than what it's been if you increase the sample size to about 10 years. It's about 80 to 85%. What it tells me is if you're favored by double digits in December, again, these are December double-digit favorites. Late season teams that are expected to go to the playoffs against teams that are not expected to go to the playoffs. That's usually how you get a double-digit favorite. These teams win 90% of the time. So we're going to do what we did last week. It didn't work because we stuck the stupid Jags in there instead of taking another double-digit favorite, and the Jags, of course, got shut out. Good luck explaining that one against the Titans defense. But we're going to tease a bunch of double-digit favorites again, down to 0. So I'm taking the Bills down to basically a pick 'em minus a hook. And obviously I'm worried about the Josh Allen injury, but Carolina's one of 3. Here you go. Here's a trivia question for you guys. Carolina, one of 3 teams in the NFL averaging less than 5 yards per play. What are the other 2 teams? Anyone have an idea?
I got to go with Houston.
You're not going to get the other one, I don't think.
The Giants?
Close. They're just above 5.
Jets.
No, Miami, surprisingly.
Oh, well, because, anybody can throw a little 3-yard out according to
exactly
so-and-so about 2.
So I don't trust Carolina's offense. And obviously the Bills took a toll emotionally. But if they want to make the playoffs, they got to win this game, period. End of story. Because the AFC is thick right now. A lot of playoff contenders at that 7-6 range. So the Bills need this game, and I think they'll get home.
All right, let's move on. The Dallas Cowboys finish up a 3-game roadie. They've already taken care of business down in the Bayou, in our nation's capital, and now they're on the road to take on the New York Giants, who actually play in the state of New Jersey. Dallas could actually clinch the NFC East with a win and some help as well. Now, offensively, they still look a little clunky to me. Defensively, they are a force. They've got 3 guys that can get to the pass rusher, including Ross Tucker's new BFF, who had no idea who he was in the picture that she took with Michael Barton. But that's neither here nor there. Ross, do I understand?
I told you guys that story, right?
Yeah, you know him, right? From the high school days in Harrisburg.
He lives a mile away.
Yeah.
He knew who I was. I DM'd him before the game, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna come. I'm doing the game. Let's hang out." He's like, "All right." So I took that. He knew who I was when I took that picture with him.
Can you introduce him to me? Because I'm like his biggest fan.
You know what's fun? So real quick, I don't know if I told you guys this. You know, he talks about his character issues or whatever. It's well documented. That's why he fell in the draft. I went to his training camp practice when he was a junior in high school. His coach had me come, and I was like, listen, man, you got 5 years. If you just do the right things for 5 years, you will totally change your whole life and your family's whole life. And he did most of the right things for those 5 years. Not good enough. Good enough.
He's going to get paid. He keeps playing the way he is right now.
Yeah, he's doing just fine now.
Yeah.
Doing just fine. Ross, with all that being said, do I understand you like the Giants? I cannot be reading this right. You like the Giants? Have you not been watching
I really like getting double digits, and I feel like there's a lot of value when you get 10 in the hook. I just feel like there's a lot of – look, you said it, Chris. The Cowboys' offense is struggling. Dak is off. He's missing throws. The O-line's not playing as well. And, I mean, that interception to Holcomb, that was one of the worst throws I've ever seen. I mean, he threw it right to him to give Washington a chance to get back in the game. Do I wish it was Daniel Jones and not Mike Glennon? Yes. But
wait, can you repeat that, please?
I wish it was Daniel Jones and not Mike Glennon.
Got it. I thought I heard that right.
At any rate, I'm still taking the Giants and the points. I think at home, I don't think they want to be embarrassed. The Cowboys' offense is challenged. Maybe we get a Mike Glennon backdoor cover. 10.5's a lot. I'm taking the Giants and the points.
The back door could very well be open. Let's just make one thing clear. MetLife will not be a home game for the Giants on Sunday. The Cowboys are, talk about this city there's tons of Cowboys fans. I was at the Eagles-Giants game a few weeks ago. There was a lot of Eagles fans there. And the Giants, that stadium turns on the Giants very quickly when they're playing poorly. And they've been playing very poorly. This is another perfect double-digit 10-point teaser spot for a double-digit favorite. You get the Cowboys through all of those key numbers, 10, 7, 3 being the big ones, obviously. And Mike Glennon, 6-29 straight up as a starter. I can't stress enough how comforting it is to know all Dallas has to do to cover this 10-point teaser is win the game. Obviously, there's other teams that need to cover the teaser legs as well. But of the 3 that we have, Buffalo, Dallas, and then we'll give you another one later, Dallas, I think, is definitely my favorite. I just don't see the Giants winning this game.
Cowboys are 6-1 against the spread on the road, 3-0 against the spread as road favorites. So,
yeah,
you teasing them down to 0.5 point. If they lose the game, it's pretty much your fault, Jared.
It's definitely my fault. But you make a good point about Dak, because I saw this stat earlier this week. Before the calf injury, 73% completion percentage. This is weeks 1 through 6. 16 touchdowns, 4 picks. post-calf injury, weeks 9 through 14, 8 touchdowns, 6 picks, 63% completion percentage, 10% drop in completion percentages, throwing more picks. He's probably not 100%, but I think he's well enough to outduel Mike Glennon.
They also have not run the ball as well as they did the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. All right, let's move on to the game, which I'm not so sure if it was in my backyard that I would open the glass door to watch it. Texans Jags, week 1. Houston actually won this one 37-21. It was the only time the Texans scored more than 22 points in a game the entire year. And just when you thought the show couldn't get any shittier in Jacksonville, over the past week it did, thanks to Tom Pelissero, my comrade over at NFL Network, his report about Urban Meyer and the way he treats assistant coaches. And Marvin Jones came out on Wednesday and he said, yes, we did have an issue, but we talked it out like men. That is code for get this dude the hell out of here. So with all that being said, you guys are on the same side here. So let's make this one nice and tight. Ross, what do you have?
I love the Texans. I don't like them. I love them. I'm a little confused as to how the line is now up to 4, with Houston getting 4 when they were getting 3.5. I don't really understand this. The Jags seem to me like they are a total train wreck right now. I also like the under in this game. I know it's a crazy low total, 39.5. I don't see either one of these teams getting to 20 points, like ever again in the history of their franchises. I mean, what are we talking about here? Give me the Texans. Davis Mills played well last week. They're playing for Culley. The Jags are hoping this guy gets fired, it feels like. I like the Texans getting 3.5, now 4. And I kind of like the under, too.
I didn't think it could get any worse for the Jags and Urban Meyer until earlier this week when he said, yeah, that guy's been playing really well, and he had 0 snaps in the game. It's like George Costanza. It's like he's trying to get fired. I don't understand how the ownership and the brain trust of the Jaguars can see this continuing to move. Like when you have a cancer, you cut it out. And I don't see how it's going to get better. And you're giving me 3 points with the Texans, who have been spunky. Mills, 331 yards last week. He threw for 310 against the Rams. His grades are right on par with Trevor Lawrence's this year, according to the analytics. Like, they're the same quarterback, basically, analytics, and they shouldn't be. One's the number 1 pick. The other one was a third-round pick, late third-round pick. So I don't see how I'm getting 3. It confused me even more when the line moved against Houston. I'm waiting on an answer from some of the sports books who I reached out to this week. I'm still curious which sharp is betting the Jags. I'd like to meet him and pick his brain, but I love Houston getting 3, and I think I'm going to add to it if this gets to 4. And I think it already has at some spots.
By the way, and in Costanza-like fashion, Urban Meyer was found earlier this week napping under his desk wearing oven mitts because he's been a hand model.
Yeah, bring in Blake Bortles' jersey and wipe barbecue sauce all over it, like when he did the Babe Ruth.
Green Bay Packers. They can clinch the North. The easiest way for them is just to win on the road at Baltimore. The Ravens, they were loser on the road at Cleveland, although a valiant comeback with a backup quarterback. We don't know really about the health of Lamar. It sounds like he's going to be okay, but we don't know what percentage of Lamar we're going to be getting here. So how do you see this one, Jared?
Well, the Josh Johnson news that the Ravens signed Josh Johnson off the Jets practice squad, I think is kind of a tell that maybe Lamar's probably not 100% and they need to get some quarterback depth. I'm curious what Dr. Tucker thinks, but I would guess Lamar doesn't play this week. And I think Aaron Rodgers does play this week. And if that's the case, this line, which was 7, then it moved down to 5-4 once the Lamar Jackson day-to-day news came out. Now I'm seeing 5.5. It's probably going to creep back towards the Packers. I teased the Packers down from 7 to 1. Obviously, I wouldn't tease it from 5 to +1. We don't tease through 0. But if this does get back to 6, 6.5 by Sunday, which I think it could, and it should if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, that's when you tease the Packers again. I don't see how the Baltimore defense is stopping Aaron Rodgers. They are 30th in opponent yards per attempt. Only the Jets and the Lions have given up more yards per attempt to opposing quarterbacks this season. That is not a good list to be on. And I think the Packers with Aaron Rodgers, I don't care if he's healthy or not. I'll take 50% of Aaron Rodgers against that Ravens secondary. I think the Packers win this game. Good teaser leg, but it has to get back to 6 first.
Don't have a whole lot on this game. I would envision the Ravens erring on the side of caution with Lamar Jackson because running is so important, because his health is vital for them down the stretch. because it's a tough game, even if he's healthy, and because Tyler Huntley's kind of okay. Tyler Huntley, he's not bad. He actually gives him a chance. And Lamar Jackson has not played well since before the Dolphins game. He has struggled for a while. There's a lot of reasons why I don't think Lamar Jackson plays in this game. And if that's the case, then, laying the 5 right now with Green Bay is probably a pretty good idea, because to Jared's point, when it becomes official with Lamar, that line will go up for sure. And plus the Packers 11-2 against the spread this year. And they're like a public team, and people like the Packers, and they're still 11-2 against the spread. So I could probably only lay it here, given the events, this event surrounding what we know right now.
Hot take. Tyler Huntley has thrown the ball better than Lamar Jackson over the last 5
Not hot at all. I agree 100%. Now we'll see what happens in a full week, because Green Bay's defense is tough, but man, that's a tough ask.
All right, let's move. This is going to be a quick one. The Jets are back off their bye week. They have a chance to get to 500. They have won 5 in a row, thanks in part to that defense, which has given up just 11 points per game during the streak. And now they are playing host to the, I don't even know what to call the New York Jets anymore. Robert Saleh was brought in part to help fix that defense, and they're giving up the most points per game. You're smirking at me, Tucker. What's going on?
Well, because you're right, and I don't know what's going on, but this was Miami minus 8.5, and I loved them as a teaser leg yesterday. Now, as we're recording, the line's up to 10. The Dolphins are laying 10. I don't know. Did new news come out, Jared, or did it move a 1.5 just based on?
Yes, the Jets. The Jets suck more than we thought. So that is the breaking news, guys.
They're at the bottom of every list that I look at. All the nerd stat lists. I don't really have many positives to say about my team this year. I can try to explain the line movement, though, and we have confirmation from odds makers about this. When a big favorite that's going to get bet on very publicly opens at around 8 or 8.5 points, the line basically, like hopscotch, it jumps right over 9, and it goes right to 10 because it wants teaser protection. Teaser protection is becoming a huge part of these NFL lines on a weekly basis because the sharps are betting the teasers, the public is betting the teasers, the books have said we've been exposed. Their books are charging more money for teasers. I used to have minus 110. Now it's minus 140 at some shops. That's obviously why we focus on teasers a lot, because there's some weakness there if the sports books are spending that much time and resources trying to protect themselves from it. But that's why that line jumps from 8. It goes right to 9.5, 10, because they want to blow through that 9 so it doesn't go from 9 to 3. And that's a very common thing I've seen this year.
Okay. So with all that being said, you guys
Dolphins teaser. Dolphins teaser.
Got it early.
You can't get it now.
Yeah. I would still tease it down.
The Dolphins teaser. Now I would stay away. I'm not laying 10 points.
No, I wouldn't lay the full 10.
Now
but I think getting 4 is okay. It's not the best teaser leg, but it's an okay teaser leg. It's like average.
All right, let's move on. The Titans will know by the time they kick off on Sunday whether or not they have a chance to clinch the AFC South, because part of the first part of the equation is that the Patriots take care of the Colts on the nightcap on Saturday. If the Titans beat the Steelers, then the Titans will be the division champs there in the AFC South. Steelers, by the way, with everything that has gone on, with them, falling behind by 29 points Thursday in Minnesota, and Chase Claypool signaling, first down, you're losing. Get up. Turn the ball in. Stop complaining about no music at practice. Play football instead of all this BS. With all that being said, the Steelers are just a half game out of the playoff chase coming into this weekend. Jared, makes sense of all this for us.
I think the wrong team's favored in this game. And if Indy does win and the Titans can't clinch on Sunday, I like the Steelers even more. Because, again, Pittsburgh backs against the wall. This is it. They probably can't afford to lose another game the rest of the year. The tie might end up helping them in the standings. We'll see how things shake out in a few weeks. But also, I'm seeing some split action on this game. It's early in the week, but at DraftKings, I'm seeing all the tickets come in on Tennessee, but more of the money come in on Pittsburgh. And that's starting to set up a pros versus Joes. It's kind of like what I'm seeing in Colts, Pats. A lot of the public really likes Tennessee, but Pittsburgh is kind of the sneaky sharp side, and this line's kind of moved towards the Steelers a little bit. And they just need this game more. I think they're going to get back TJ Watt this week. I think they're going to get back Joe Hayden this week and Alex Highsmith. That's huge. Keep an eye on those statuses heading into the weekend. But I think the Steelers at home catching any amount of points against the Titans team that still looks like they're not fully back from some of the injuries and some of the, the issues that were plaguing them a little earlier in the year. No Derrick Henry and no A.J. Brown. So I think the wrong team's favor here, and I like this game even more if the Colts win on Saturday.
So I like the Steelers quite a bit as a teaser leg. In fact, I got them when they were getting 2 points up to 8. Now they're getting 1.5. So it's moved a little bit, but it's still a great teaser leg. I think it's a toss-up game. Let's be honest. The Titans only being favored by 1.5 says a lot about a lot, I think, given their record, given Pittsburgh's record. So when the books give you 1.5 to 2.5, take it. Tease it up 6 points and take it as a teaser leg and get more than a touchdown with the Steelers.
Agreed. Great teaser leg.
All right. The Arizona Cardinals brought back to earth a little bit. Monday night home loss against the depleted Los Angeles Rams. So they fell from the 1st to the 3rd seed overall. They are still leading the NFC West, and they take their show on the road, which is actually a great thing for the Cardinals. They're going to be in Detroit this weekend. They're 7-0 away from home. They've won all 7 by double digits. Their average margin of victory is 16 points per game on the road, which is damn impressive. And with all that being said, Ross is basically wearing his Detroit Lions underoos on this show. What?
I am taking the Fighting Dan Campbell. They are 4-2 against the spread at home. This is a rough game for the Cardinals. They're coming off a disappointment, short week, tough game. Now they're going to Detroit. I don't know how many people will even be there. The atmosphere will be weird. And there are bad teams that are not giving you max effort, like the Jaguars, maybe even the Jets or the Texans, not the Lions. The Lions are going to hit the Cardinals with everything they got. I don't know what that is, but they're going to hit them with everything what they got. I got them when they were getting 14. Now it's 13.5. I think that's just a big number in the NFL. That's a big number to lay against the Fighting Dan Campbells. Give me the Lions.
Too big for me. I would never lay it with Arizona in this spot. And it falls out of that 10-point teaser range where we move it through 7 and 3. We would move it from 13.5 to 3.5. That doesn't sound that enticing. So I left it off the double-digit favorite. We have plenty of double-digit favorites to choose from this week. And I assume that is going to be a continuing theory down the stretch as the good teams get ground into form and the bad teams kind of, fade into golfing oblivion where they want to, get ready for the offseason. But I'm a little concerned about Arizona. 2 primetime games, Green Bay and LA, and they kind of shot the bed in both a little bit, turnovers, and didn't really play their best ball. But in this particular game, you either take the points with the Lions or you just sit back and watch because I don't think I can lay it with Arizona. So I like
big picture here, by the way, just football talk here, just among 3 guys, football talk. If the Cardinals end up as a 3 seed and they've got to play somebody like the Niners or the Vikings at home, that ain't gonna go well for them. I don't know why they're so different at home as opposed to the road. I don't get it. I don't know.
I don't get it either. But maybe they lost the other night on purpose because they don't want home field advantage because they're not good at home.
So they want to be
maybe
a wild card.
Maybe they want to play a couple road games.
They got to work all the way down to being the 5 seed now so that they go play Dallas or something. That'd be really interesting. I like where your head's at. See, now your parents would be proud of that sort of thinking.
Yes.
Not as proud as if you were a major multi-trillionaire hedge fund guy and living out some ritzy area.
Then he wouldn't get to talk to us every week, Chris. And we know how much he loves that. It's true.
Did somebody just knock at the door, Ross?
No.
Did somebody just knock at your office door? I thought I heard that. Maybe my ears are playing tricks on me. All right. Who's knocking at the door of the playoffs?
On purpose.
The Seattle Seahawks. Can you believe it? They're 5-8 and they're just a game out of this thing. This is unreal. Now they're on the road. They're taking on the Rams, who are having COVID issues of their own. We know they battled through it to take care of business on Monday night on the road, But now you add OBJ to that list. We don't know about the availability of certain guys like Jalen Ramsey and Henderson, all the Higbee, who knows with all this stuff. We talked about it at the top of the show with the COVID situation. How does it affect the way you look at this game, Jared?
Heavy action coming in, on Seattle, moved this line off of 7. Even though I'm seeing the public still favor the Rams. But again, just because all of the public is favoring one side doesn't mean that those sharper bets, which the sports books take much more seriously, is going to move this line off of 7 now towards, I'm seeing 4.5. So I would say we're at the point now where you can start to consider playing LA. But I'm not there yet. And I think from what I've deduced from prior years of handicapping, when a player misses one game, sometimes the teams can make up for it. But when it's multiple games, that's when things start to get more difficult. And I know they got by without Jalen Ramsey and without Tyler Higbee. Higbee was on the field for like 90% of the Rams snaps this year. So I was really impressed that they were able to look as smooth as they did, and Stafford as smooth as he looked without, I would say, his like security blanket kind of with Higbee. And Ramsey, I didn't even notice him missing the game at all. That's because the Rams front 7 played so well. Can the Rams front 7 play this well again? They're going to need to, because Seattle's hungry right now and they're playing pretty good ball themselves. So this isn't a play for me, but I would maybe lean towards Seattle getting points here until this gets down to maybe 3. That's when I would look to the other side with the Rams.
Totally agree. Seahawks 2-1 against the spread as road dogs. Look, they've won 2 in a row. They've played well. And we already talked about it's not easy to come off a huge emotional high of Monday night's win. Now you got the COVID issues. There's just a lot of forces working, in my opinion, against the Rams. Do we think Stafford's going to have like a perfect game again? I don't think so. I could only look to Seattle on the points given everything going on right now.
All right, real interesting game, also out west, but different conference here. You've got the Bengals and the Broncos, currently the 9th and 10th seed in the AFC playoff chase, but they're all right there with basically the same records as teams that are in the playoffs as of right now. The Bengals, you talked about an emotional win for the Rams. The Bengals had one where they came back from 2 touchdowns down in the fourth quarter, took a lead in overtime, and then watched Brandon Ayuk stomp on their dreams and scored a walk-off touchdown. This is a young Bengals team. These are both actually really young teams with a ton of talent. But, Ross, you like one side a little bit more here.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by the line. It was the Bengals getting 2, which was ideal then to tease them up to 8. And they're one of my 4 teaser legs this week. We always, if you're new to the show, by the way, welcome. You've come to the right place. And we always go over our teasers in about 5 minutes from now or so. You can get excited for that. However, the line's going up from +2 to +3. I'm surprised. People are loving the Broncos here. Very similar teams. I think the Bengals are more talented. I think the Broncos are better coached. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow over Teddy Bridgewater any day of the week. Bengals have lost a couple of the games recently to tough teams like the Chargers and the Niners. I think the Bengals are due for a win. I think they're going to get it in Denver. I love teasing the Bengals up to +8.
I don't mind the teaser spot, low total game through 2 key numbers, but the movement, the way that the line is kind of drifting towards Denver tells me the Broncos are the sharper side. I would raise the reverse line movement flag here. Denver opened as a 3-point underdog. The majority of the handle is on Cincinnati earlier in the week. Again, it's early in the week, but right now, since he's getting more of the public love, and now I'm seeing -3 on the other side. So this line's moved a full 6 points from one key number to the other key number. And that's despite the fact that Denver's getting the majority of the handle. I think Denver wins this game. And I'm not to say that they're going to cover the 8, which was Ross's teaser leg. Again, it's not a bad teaser leg in theory. But the sharp money is telling me Denver is going to win this game. If you want a reason why they're going to win this game, I would assume maybe some inconsistencies from the Bengals, especially on offense. Tough place to play. There's not a lot of home field advantages left in the NFL. Denver, I would still put in that category. And again, the way that this line has moved, Teddy Bridgewater has been steady Teddy, right? Despite that one bad game against the Chiefs, he's been really good this year. And I would say Denver wins this game. In fact, so much so that I cashed out my Bengals future this week to win the AFC North because there's all 4 teams can win that division. good luck trying to figure out who's going to win the AFC North. And I think when the uncertainty hits, I just kind of wash my hands of it. And I would maybe lean towards Denver here, but now the line's at 3, probably a no play for me.
By the way, as far as the Bengals go, last week really jump-started a killer schedule down the stretch, right? They had the Niners at home. Now they're at Denver. Back-to-back home games against the Chiefs and the Ravens before finishing the season off at Cleveland. It's going to be real interesting with that young team. And by the way, special shout-out to the Denver defense this year. We thought that maybe when they traded Von Miller, that was going to be it. 7 times this year, they've allowed 17 or fewer points. So, yeah, that's a good side of the football for them. Falcons and Niners. So the Niners get a big win. Falcons are still in this thing somehow. Like, I watch a ton of their games, and I'm like, how do they actually have 6 wins? But they do really well on the road. So, Jared, are you interested? No, wow, you got the who farted face on. What's going on?
This is a bad matchup for the Falcons. They don't stop the run very well, and Debo was kind of, you could tell he wasn't 100% last week. And the Niners still, played well enough to win. You saw Brandon Ayuk break out. George Kittle, good luck. Who on the Atlanta Falcons defense is going to stop George Kittle in this game? This is another one of those classic teaser protection games. Line was around 8, 8.5, and then bang, all of a sudden 9.5. Like immediately. No news, no injuries, no nothing. It just moved right to 9.5. I teased it down to 2.5 before that. If you can find a 9 from 9 to 3 is worth playing, I would probably chill at 3.5 because I think there's better teaser legs on the board that we can advise you in a moment. But this is a Niners team. I don't see how they lose this game at home. I just don't.
I would be stunned if they lost this game at home, but I don't feel good enough about them to lay 9.5 against Matt Ryan and Arthur Smith, who I think has done an outstanding job. Both those guys. This roster does not have much. They have the same record as a team that's currently in the playoffs right now. It's very impressive. But the Niners are playing really well right now. They're playing every game like it's the playoffs. I like the Niners to win the game. If the number got less than 7, which it won't, I would take the Niners. Over 10 is when I would take Atlanta. 9.5, it is a stay away.
By the way, the Falcons, as I mentioned, they're a pretty good road team, 5-2. Only the Cardinals and Patriots have better records, have more wins on the road. Unreal.
Yeah.
Okay. Sunday night, Saints, Bucks. The last time these two teams played earlier in the season, Saints took care of business, and after that game, they were in first place. Well, now this is crazy. But now the Bucks can clinch their first division title since 2007. And before I start asking you about stuff, Ross, you're 1 for 1 on trivia. Who was the quarterback the last time the Bucks won the division? In 2007.
2007?
Yeah.
Brad Johnson?
Jeff Garcia.
You are
How did you get that?
Where are the parents Tucker right now? Where are
cheating?
they? You don't need a house on Montauk to.
No. When you first said it, I thought you were gonna say 2005, and I was gonna say Chris Sims.
Oh, that's another good one.
And then when you said 2007, I'm like, no, it wasn't Chris Sims anymore. And I thought, well, Gradkowski started around then, but he didn't win a division.
Gradkowski.
So I remembered Garcia in that range. So, yeah.
Wow. Was I way off with Brad Johnson in the years that he played?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Brad Johnson wasn't the starter as of like 2004.
Okay.
He was the Super Bowl winning quarterback for them.
That's why that name rings a bell. But Ross clearly is Ross, I'm gonna start hiring you for bar trivia.
Wouldn't say the stat if it was Brad Johnson.
Yeah. Right, Ross, like, you know my game. One time we're just going to do football trivia, and we'll see how you do. So today you're 2 for 2. You pat yourself on the back. The Bucs guys, we talked about this incessantly throughout the year. They're a different team at home. They're 6-0 at home. They've scored at least 30 points in each of those contests. But I think you guys see this one a little differently. So Ross, I'll start with you since you get a little pat on the head for the extra point for the trivia answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very similar conversation to one we've had a couple times already in the show today, which is if you're going to give me 10.5 and 11 with a decent team, I'm going to take it. That's a lot of points in the NFL. I can just envision right now the Bucs are up 17 late. Taysom Hill's running around to get that backdoor cover. I mean, the Bucs are not trying to win the game by 11 and a half or more.
No.
You know what I mean? They're just trying to win the game. So you give me that many points. Look, the Saints just won a game by 20. Saints are feeling better about themselves. They got Kamara back. Taysom Hill can scramble. I love him in fantasy, by the way, this week. Give me the Saints and the points.
Perfect teaser leg with the 10-point teaser. Like, this is ideal because it's, again, a spot that Ross is spot on. The Bucs don't care if they win by 7 or 100. They just need to win the game because, especially with Arizona losing, that 1 seed, Tom can smell that week off. He can smell it. It's right there for him. And after last year when they had to win 3 road games to get to the Super Bowl, they want that. I mean, that 1 seed, I'm sure it's plastered up in the locker room. That is what the goal is right now. They've already won the division, so that doesn't really factor into this game at all. They can't even bet on this division anymore at most of the sports books. And when it comes to a certain point in the development of Taysom Hill, this is going to be a learning game for him because I don't think the Saints are going to be able to run the ball with the effectiveness that they were on Sunday against the Jets, which means Alvin Kamara will be held in check, which means this is going to be a Taysom Hill win it with your arm or your legs kind of game, and I don't think he's there yet. And I think this is you get that teaser leg right down through 3 and 7, Bucs lane, just a point. I think it's a perfect. They're going to win this game. Tom Brady also has never beaten the Saints as a member of Tampa Bay, right? 0-3?
Right. Well, it's in fact, the Saints have won 6 straight regular season matchups in this series. And last year, I believe it was on Sunday Night Football in Tampa where the Saints handed Tom Brady his worst loss ever.
They beat him in the playoffs. I forgot about that, which matters more. That matters more.
If you're the type of guy who likes to bring up stuff like the playoffs.
Yeah, the playoffs, that's important. But never in the regular season. So that's another notch on Tom Brady's belt. He'll get that first regular season win over the Saints as a member of the Bucs.
Ross, I think it's been more than 5 minutes, but it is that time.
Yes.
Would you like to give us? Go for it.
It is teaser time where we talk about the games that we're teasing, even though we already talked about the games that we are teasing. Now we just reiterate it because we're worried that some of you might have really poor short-term memory, which is fine. I might be there someday as well. So let's talk about the teasers we like, the teaser legs. Hopefully you're familiar. I do the traditional 6-point 2-team teasers. I usually do them round robin. So I have 6 teasers this week. Here's the legs. New England plus 8.5, Pittsburgh plus 8, Miami minus 2.5, Cincinnati plus 8. So just do all of them. New England, Pitt, New England, Miami, New England, Cincinnati. Pitt, Miami, Pitt, Cincinnati. You got the drift. 6 of them in all. Jared.
We're in alignment on most of them, especially Pittsburgh and Miami. I will add the Niners to mine. So I have 3 teaser legs that are round robins. That means you're going to play 3 different teasers right now. If you want to add a 4th, when the Packers line, when they announce Lamar Jackson on Sunday that he's not playing and that Packers line gets back to 7, you add in the 4th leg being the Packers, and you could, round robin all the Packers teaser legs you want in there. So Dolphins, Niners, Steelers, and then, presumably Packers on Sunday with Lamar Jackson out of the lineup. We'll see what the line does if he plays. The 10-point teaser leg is very simple. There are 4 double-digit favorites on the board. 3 of them are between 10 and 12, which means you get it down to between a pick'em and 2. They are Dallas, Buffalo, Tampa Bay. All 3 of those teams in one 10-point teaser, and I feel much better about the 10-point teaser this week because it doesn't have the Jags in it.
All right. Our last game is the one tonight that'll kick off Week 15, and it is a great one. It is a battle for first in the AFC West. Chiefs traveling to SoFi. They're hoping it's just the first of 2 trips to that stadium this year. Of course, that will be the home of the Super Bowl in mid-February. First matchup was back in Week 3. Chargers took care of business. They won it by 6. That was a game where the Chiefs turned it over 4 times. It was all over the place. I actually think that was the game where didn't Mahomes' mom tweet when one ball went in and out of Tyreek Hill's hands? That should not be on my son's record. Oh God, is that where we were? Chiefs have grown up a lot since then. So too is their social media game, apparently. They have won 6 in a row overall. Okay, Jared, I'll let you hit leadoff on this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Chris Jones situation makes this game very different of a handicap because he has been the spark of that Chiefs defense.
And his situation is that he's got COVID, and so too does the outstanding rookie Rashawn Slater for the LA Chargers. Not that they cancel each other out necessarily, but I wanted to get that out there.
Very good point. The Slater injury or the Slater COVID situation is very impactful as well, but I think Chris Jones is a little more impactful. And I think the line reflected that, moving from 4.5 now to 3. And I still would take the Chargers here. I still think 3 is, obviously I'd rather have 4. But I still think 3 is a good number to take the Chargers at. I think eventually we are going to see the Chiefs. Their offensive issues have been masked by the defense over the last few weeks. And we'll see if they can hold up where short week. I know the road situation doesn't matter as much because I'm assuming there'll be just as many Chiefs fans as there will be Chargers fans in the building at SoFi. But I do think getting 3 in this spot is a decent way to play it.
Totally agree. I like the Chargers getting 3. You guys know my philosophy. If it's a toss-up game, which I think this is, and you can get 3, I think you should take it. Chargers have played well 2 games in a row. Herbert is in a groove. Rashawn Slater is a big loss. Chris Jones is a bigger loss for the Chiefs. So I like the Chargers getting the points in this one. I think, 3-point dogs, 18-12 against the spread this year. Proves that my theory works. So that is what I will do in terms of the spread. As for the props, Jared, I know you're more of a prop guy than I am. Justin Herbert, over under 284.5 passing yards.
I'd go over. I mean, he looked phenomenal last week. I thought that was his best moment where, Mahomes has had moments where he's throwing it sideways and all these things. That end of the half throw was the moment where you're like, wow, where people, I know he's been great and people should be paying attention, but the general public seems to pay attention more when it's a viral highlight. And so I think this is the Herbert game where he shows you that he is the real deal and he's better than Mahomes. So I would go over there.
Whoa, better than Mahomes, he says. Wow.
Maybe not better, but on the same level. I mean, this is the spot for Justin Herbert to say, hey, listen, I know Patrick Mahomes is an MVP and a Super Bowl MVP, but I'm pretty good too.
Speaking of Mahomes, over under 18.5 rushing yards.
I think in the bigger games, I tend to lean on the quarterback runners more, like a Josh Allen the other night where he was running it all over the yard. Didn't matter. They lost the game still. But he tends to elevate. I put Mahomes in that category.
I don't think he's done that enough, by the way.
Agreed.
Personally, I think that he's left yards on the table this year, and I don't know why that is.
I'm assuming people in his ear saying, hey, relax, we need you in January.
Well, 2 things. One is the Chargers play a lot of 2-deep coverage, which gives Mahomes a better chance to run. Mm-hmm. And speaking of, don't think he's done enough. And how about Travis Kelce? His over-under is 5.5 receptions. This has not been a vintage Travis Kelce year.
No.
Tough to pick that one. I think the reception numbers, they tend to be pretty spot on, and they just move the juice up and down. So I'd be curious where the juice is. I would probably just lean to the plus side of it because I'm assuming the juice is to the over. But you never know. Sometimes they juice it one higher and they juice the you just never know. I would probably stay away from that one. But if I had to pick it, I would probably lean to the under because I'm assuming the Chargers are going to say, hey, listen, anybody but Kelce can beat us or Hill.
Yeah, I think it's over because I think with the 2-deep zone, I think
that's true.
To throw it to Kelce more underneath. And then I think it's over for Mahomes on the half and interception.
100%.
I think he throws one. I think he gets frustrated. Look, to Mrs. Mahomes' credit, Chris, there's been a lot of interceptions this year that have not been Mahomes' fault. That have been off of their hands.
I believe it's almost half of his interceptions, and they do lead the league in drops. So, listen, while factually she's probably right, there's going to be a special category. I just personally don't think it behooves anybody for a family member to start hopping on social media unless it means bringing OBJ from Cleveland.
Never.
It's a bad situation.
Never. All right. One of my favorite parts of the week, Jared.
Yes.
Thursday night football giveaway. $100 to a lucky Pickswise Twitter follower if you or I get a touchdown. I got KJ Osborne last week, right?
I got one last too. I think it was Fryermuth. I got Fryermuth last week.
Yes, we
My Penn
both
State
got
guy.
one. All right.
We're hot.
So to be eligible, all you have to do is retweet and follow. And I try to retweet that every week. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. What are you, Jared?
At Jared Lee Smith. Retweet game is strong these days. Let's go.
Jared Lee, is that a family name? It sounds
That's my middle name.
Like a Confederate general.
My mom wanted me to be a rock star like Tommy Lee, but I ended up having no musical talent at all.
You're a rock star to us, Jared.
Wow.
Chris, what's your social?
Let me write it down for you. I'll just hold it up. Is that okay? Go ahead. Give me the information and I'll give it to you.
All right. So here we go. I'll let you go first, Jared. I always go first.
Oh.
Chris always tees me up first for anytime touchdowns. You can go first.
Well, I hate to say it, but you gave me the pick based on your two deep coverage, shtick. Kelsey, -110. Pick him, basically. I like Kelsey. I mean, I think he's going to be the guy for Kansas City in the game.
Yeah, I'll go Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
That will be my next pick.
I mean, although I guess when you get down near the red zone, they're all compressed anyway. But I'll go Edwards-Helaire for Kansas City just because I think it's going to be a big day for him. If they're going to stay patient, it should be a big Edwards-Helaire running game. What about for the Chargers?
So I want to say Keenan Allen. That would be one of my choices. But I'll be honest, I'm going to go for a little bit of a big score here because I love what this Jalen Guyton guy's been doing. He has been fantastic. And I feel like the Chargers are going to want to make a statement and they're going to want to push the ball down the field. And he is their deep threat. Plus 250 on Jalen Guyton. That is a good betting number as well, I think, for a guy that's definitely the explosive play guy on this Chargers offense. So I'll go Guyton at plus 250.
Yeah, I am going Austin Eckler because he scores a touchdown every game, at least one. And I want our followers that follow us at Pickswise, I want them to be happy. And I want one of them to get $100.
It's a good bet.
One of you lucky Pickswise Twitter followers. So Austin Eckler is who I'm going with.
Gentlemen, good job. You guys, you have fun doing that, and it's good. I like where your head's at.
I love it.
By the way, here's my social. You asked for it. So I thought that it's a very Hollywood script sort
Chris,
of deal.
blink twice if you're getting kidnapped. Holding up signs, help me.
That's usually just to rescue me from you two.
You need it after an hour with us.
All I can tell you is this. People could say, well, there's no elite teams in the NFL. And that's with as many fan bases that are in this, and then what you guys give them for Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays now 4 times during the week. If you're not having fun this season, then you're not enjoying it. I mean, you just can't enjoy football. I don't know what it is. I love it. I love what's going on. It's awesome.
Agreed.
All right, boys. So we will reconvene again next Thursday and get you all ready for week number 16 when I'm sure the standings will be turned on their head and teams will win when we don't expect them to. And it's that simple. In the meantime, as we like to say around here, for Ross Tucker and for Jared Smith and our outstanding producer, Jack, behind the scenes as well, I am Chris Rose. Now, boys, together, go
win some dough.
Go!